think this one should go in here for fun. And right there, that's good enough. Some of my YouTube tutorial paintings here. How's everyone doing today? I'm doing something different, as you could see. I just came back from Miami. I've never been there. Beautiful place, but I did bring a little bit of the Seattle rain over to Miami, but that's okay. Still had a good time at the beach. I'm unpacking, so if you don't mind while I talk and I unpack, I'll explain this little short video. But this was one of the things I was inspired while I was there in Miami to paint a jean jacket. This is a brand new jean jacket, and painted using fabric medium mixed with acrylic paint. And yeah, it will hold strong and won't come off. Pretty excited about this. That's where I was pretty much at the beach, and went to visit my friend's art show, and just to get some inspiration, you know. Every now and then I just feel like I need to get out of the studio, get out of the apartment to, you know, get some inspiration, whether it be around this area or different places, you know, like that. So I felt like I needed to go out. It was time. But today, what I wanted to talk about is just like to give some artist tips, you know, and I'm still pretty young and learning a lot as I'm going, and there's a lot I'm learning actually, and it's fun, it's exciting, and I will do my best to answer some of the questions I've been getting on Instagram and on YouTube and on my Facebook page. People have been asking, and I have my wife here right behind me. She'll be asking me questions while I do my best to answer. I'll put this down here.
So, hi everyone, my name's Andrea, and I'm just going to be asking Felix a few questions that he gets a lot. This week is kind of something different because we just got back last night, but he gets a lot of the same questions often, so he wanted to take a minute to answer some.
So we will answer a few questions here, and then we'll be back with the full tutorial next week, since we just got back last night, like my wife said. And so yeah, let's hear the questions. I don't know these questions, so I don't have a plan what to say, so bear with me. This is raw material, and here it is.
Okay, so you've had some younger artists email you and say that they want to pursue being an artist, but their parents don't necessarily support them. What would you tell them?
You know, I'm a young artist still. I'm learning a lot, like I said. I grew up, you know, my parents we grew up working hard, and so my parents actually didn't see art as you know, and that's common in a lot of cultures. That's common that art is, you don't make a living out of it. It's really hard to be, you know, making money and making a comfortable living. And yes, it's true if you're like doubting yourself, you know, if you're like back and forth and okay, I'll try it, and then you stop and you go back, and then you just kind of you know, that undecisive mode. But I was there. I was undecisive for a while, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that. But yeah, so I had that pressure of not much support from family side. But honestly, my passion and my love for art grew inside, and over time, my wife encouraged me, and people around me encouraged me to pursue it. And that is why, you know, over a year, like, all this happened, because I went full on 100%, saying, you know, I have nothing to lose, because I moved from New York with my wife. She got accepted to school, and I moved back here to I don't know for what. Like, I did not know what to expect. I'm like, okay, my wife's going to school. I don't even have a degree. I don't have no education. You know, like, I'm not, like, I'm nowhere in life. I don't know what to do with my life. The only thing I know best is my painting and my art. And so I thought, well, you know, I know it's going to be hard, but if my wife supports me and she's for it, she encouraged me, I'm going to focus and try to make this happen. I worked really hard and stuck with it. And one of the things I learned is it's very important is to stay consistent. Consistency is so important, and whenever you're doing it, and have a goal. You have to have goals, like reaching goals. Okay, my goal for this month or these few weeks, I'm gonna create this piece. I'm gonna do this piece, and stay consistent with that. And then over the let's say your goal is to create a piece, a painting a month, or a picture, or whatever. It could be anything, honestly, any form of art, sculpture, or anything. And you just focus on that. Try to set aside some time. I did have. I ended up getting a part-time job. I ended up doing little, gigs here and there, but nothing to do with art. And I just started doing art at home by myself in the room and just for fun. But then people were showing some interest, and then I put more attention to that. And then I kept working part-time and doing construction. Since I came back from Russia, I was born there and I moved here when I was 6 years old. My family is all pretty much involved in construction, and they work really hard, so they taught me how to work hard. And so I was doing that on the side. And then after time, I was focused on trying to make this art thing happen and help others and artists such as yourselves and whatever you guys are into. I hope this will be encouraging for everyone, not just the artists, because this is a story that is happened to me, and I want to share it with you guys and encourage you guys that whatever you're passionate about, don't give up. Don't. Sometimes even it could be your loved ones that could say things that they don't mean because they do love you, but it could really stick with you, and you could really lose track. So make sure you have that passion that God put in your heart. You stick with it. You have it there for a reason, to inspire others, to encourage others. And I always say this, that we are all here for each other. And so anyway, so as an artist, I wasn't working full-time. I was working part-time and then doing art, and it was really difficult. And it was just a year ago. And then I just kept working hard, staying consistent, and trying new things out. That's another thing I want to encourage you guys, is to try new things out. If there's something that you're afraid to do or step out into a different if you're too comfortable in a position, it could be dangerous sometimes. I didn't really want to make a YouTube tutorial, or a YouTube channel, and or even Instagram, none of the social media stuff. But my wife, she encouraged me, and she told me, you better do it because it's a new, this a new generation, and you can reach out to many, and it could help, and you could be doing what you love, and inspire others and make this happen. So we gave it a shot, and through that, it started growing, sharing art, not being afraid to share, and stepping out of that comfort zone to opening that YouTube channel, to opening in my Facebook page, to opening the Instagram, and then all these platforms. Try to use all of them. I know it's a lot of work, but if you're passionate and you want to make this work, it's totally doable, and it is possible. I started when I was, what would you say, 26? So about 26. I've been painting for 14 years or so, and but I really got into it when I was about a couple years ago, right? 26. And it took a year and almost a half to really get to this point, and I'm still working hard, but it became a full-time job, and I'm loving it. It's a lot of hard work. You're constantly working and creating, but that's what I love to do. So I hope that answers your question. Does it? Mm-hmm. Do you think? Yeah. So you can make a living as an artist even when you're young. You just have to stay focused and don't be afraid to try something new. You're I'm nervous to. I'm not a speaker. I stumble sometimes when I speak, so I don't really like to be out there in public that much. But because I've stepped out of these comfort zones and tried new things, actually, there's a workshop coming up this Sunday. I'm nervous. I woke up this morning and I was telling my wife, I'm like, no way, I don't these people. What if they don't like it? What if they don't think that they got the value, or they don't think that they learned a lot? And I really want to make these people happy. And so I get all this pressure and fear attacking me, but then I remember that, you know what, like that's how I started, that's how I was a year ago when I didn't have the Instagram and YouTube and sharing the talents, you know, and the knowledge that I've learned to you guys. And so that's something that, you know, instead of thinking negative, I'm trying to think positive, and that changes your attitude towards the you know, the thing that you're gonna try. And so yeah, don't be afraid to try new things and experiment. Always experiment. So you know, everyone's journey is different. For me, it worked that way. I did work part-time. I had several part-time jobs and worked on the side art. And usually that's how it works. It's hard to kind of jump in out of nowhere right after high school and just do art full-time and try to, you have these expectations, and if it doesn't go your way, you know, it's kind of hard. Maybe it's possible, maybe it's doable. That's not the way I did it. I had a part-time job and then worked my way into this point. But I did talk to a friend in Miami, and he mentioned, he's a lot older, and he mentioned that he still has a job. I don't know if it's part-time or full-time, but he does art on the side also, and he loves it, but he's eventually transitioning to this full-time, you know, painting, and he loves it. I mean, he found his art passion not too long ago. So every art journey is different. You don't know, but if you see yourself doing this, you have to take baby steps, and just take the steps to you know, set yourself goals and actually do them, and not just talk about them.
Okay, so that's how you would encourage a younger artist to get started doing art as a living, but how exactly do you personally make money doing art?
Yes.
And working full-time as an artist.
So I never like talking about money, or like I'm terrible at business. The only thing I love to do is to create and do art. I love that. And so when I have extra help, you know, like my wife is really good at, you know, that part of the area, and it's really nice that that's being handled. But the way I would make it in the beginning, I started actually selling my first sold painting. I stretched my old Hollister shirt. I used to wear those in high school, and I stretched it and made my own frame, and I painted this wine glass with some grapes, and I sold that one. That was my first one for $170. I remember that day. I was so stoked. I was so excited. Yeah, I was like celebrating. I'm like, I can't believe this. This is so exciting. To me, that was a lot, you know. And it is, you know. It's a lot of money for a lot of people. And I was just, you know, blown away, and I was excited. And that lady was so happy when she bought that painting. She's like, bring some more. I want to see your, you know, portfolio. But I didn't have a portfolio. I didn't have that many pieces. But anyway, from there, I just started creating, you know, doing art and selling art. I was talking to like local coffee shops and seeing if they wanted some art on their walls. And that's how I actually got into selling a little more art. And then I found some of the local coffee shops. It started with one. And then from there, I just put up some paintings that I've done. I didn't have that much. And you know, every now and then somebody would purchase a painting, and I would still have a part-time job or a full-time job at that time.
Felix worked at the poop plant.
Yeah, I worked at the poop plant, wastewater
in a very
treatment plant.
In a very small town.
Yes, it smelled pretty bad, but you know, you get used to it. Like at first I was like, where am I? And when I was working there, I was like, what am I doing here? But the first few weeks I was like, you know, like this. I'm like, what am I doing? I like to be clean. But then...
Anyway, how do you make money as an artist?
Oh yeah. I lose, you know, I can talk and talk and talk and talk. But yeah, so anyway, so I started selling art through like coffee shops, and I got into a hospital putting artwork, you know, just word of mouth, and kind of like trying to go out and like, I made some cheap business cards and then just kind of handed it out to a few places. And I was reaching out and didn't really think much about it. I just wanted my art to be out of the small little room that I had, and then, you know, so that people can see it. And from there, I was selling art and was selling them for pretty low price because I didn't know, I didn't know how much to price him. I don't even know how to price him, so that's why I'm not good at business or any of that kind of stuff. But and then from there, over the years, so that's like what I did for a long time. It's just every now and then I would sell an original. And then somebody recommended, why don't you just make prints, like sell some prints. I was like, well, yeah, I could, but I thought it's gonna take a lot of time and hassle to kind of like, go to the print store and like figure out the size and what paintings to take high quality pictures of the paintings and all that. So I didn't do it, but then eventually, recently, we signed up with a iCanvas printing company that is a big company that does prints, sells prints, and so they're helping me fulfill the print orders. So that's one of the places I started from there, and then also YouTube, monetizing the videos. That helps a lot. There's a lot of, you could either do workshops and teach people for a cost, but YouTube, it's free. YouTube is free for everyone around the world. It reaches everyone. I'm trying my best to make these YouTube tutorials like in detailed and the best I can on my part to teach you guys for free. But at the same time, it is the cheapest way also that will benefit and bring a little bit of income coming in from that. So YouTube, monetizing the videos there, and then also Instagram. Sometimes you have brand deals, and I try not to, work too much with brand deals. But if it fits with the art and I like the product and it works well, I'll do it every once in a while. And then also recently we launched our own paint line. That took some time to experiment with different paints and find a place that I liked, the paint that I like. And so we made paint and brushes. So like all these things start to add up, like all these little things into your store. And we recently also opened the website, and I didn't have a website for a long time. But all these little things add up, and then T-shirts. My wife's brother, he is really good. He worked as a stylist and he designed a couple of the T-shirts using my artwork, and so he helped with that and added to the that's an addition to the store. And it's just a lot of little stuff you add experiment. And like phone cases, adding the prints on there. That's something new, and we're just experimenting and trying to build a store, I guess. But it always starts with like baby steps, and then eventually I had to now since the paintings were selling at coffee shops, because I spread out the paintings, I realized that I was kind of losing the original artwork, and I wanted to keep some of the artwork and to try to maybe even get into a gallery. But I realized some of the good pieces were kind of going away, so I was like, well, okay, I'm gonna have to raise the prices on those and then just add the prints. And that's why I'm talking about prints a lot, is because prints help people enjoy the artwork for a lower cost, and still enjoy that. And so that's why I'm also experimenting with jackets, as you can see right here, some over there on top. That was a fun experiment. Painting on vinyls. One of my musician friends gave me this idea, gave me a stack of vinyls, said you should try this out, paint on them, and have fun. People in Seattle will love it.
That's where it all started.
That's where it all started.
The experimenting.
It's all about just like none of this we didn't have planned. We didn't like really plan that far ahead. We had like little goals, staying consistent, but also staying like, okay, I'm gonna, like, as an artist, you're very, like, I don't know what it is, but we all kind of have this, like, we're all like afraid, like feel like the piece is not done. Every time we finish it, we come back to it, we're like, and I've done this a lot. I repainted paintings, So sometimes it's good to step back and just let it go, just move on to the next project, and just move on, do something different, you know. And I don't know, does that answer the question?
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, to summarize, I think like to make money as an artist, you have to be creative, and
Yes.
also have multiple streams of income.
Yeah, so don't be afraid, like start off, you know, like what from the beginning, like don't quit your job to like immediately, unless you have the income and money to do that, to be able to start your art full time, then totally do it. But if you don't be patient about, you know, because time, you know, will lead you, it'll lead you, if you're patient, it'll lead you to the place where you want to be, but it just takes time. And
This took us, I think, from literally opening your Instagram, I think it took like a year of really hard work from you, just like building your Instagram, figuring out what you wanted it to be like. And then that was like a year, and then after that, after the first year, it started to really pick up, and it took us about 2 years, I would say, from start to now, to get the products and everything else. For a long time, like we were doing okay, but we weren't like we were surviving, but
yes.
It took a long time to actually get it off the ground. And I think everything that Felix has done has been like as a way to help others, I think.
Yeah, and that's something, another thing that reminds me is that what is the goal? What's the intention? You know what I mean? Like, why are you doing this? Ask yourself that. I recently was asked that. And if your goal is to make money, like, you failed right there. Because if you just want to make money and it's all about the money, that's not the right heart to come into what you're doing. Even if you have the talent, you know, you can ruin it because of that, because of focusing on a different thing. But if you focus on like, okay, yes, I want to make a living, you know, doing this, but I also want to really help others, give my knowledge, my experience, and kind of give back in that way. And believe me, that's more rewarding than getting you know, some money coming in from a painting or something. That's exciting. I get really excited when there's a sale or something. But honestly, like when somebody writes me a comment and says, "Man, thank you so much for a video. It really helped me grow," you know, or I've learned this and that, and I love reading those comments on all the platforms, because
we read all of
yeah
them.
we read there's so many, but it's just amazing to see that it helps, and that makes me want to work harder, you know, to give back more. And it's like a, you know, it's a great feeling, you know, and knowing that I don't have to think about the money situation, that and helping in that way is just, it's a big relief, because you're just focused on creating. In the beginning, you have to figure out a transition to get to that level, but it's possible. It's 100% possible. And also, I'd like to say that I love seeing also the recreations that people share with me. They tag me and hashtag me and write, you know, what they have learned through this experience, and they share their style of recreation. It's very beautiful. Love seeing those. And we share about 10 paintings that people have recreated a week on our Instagram page, and on the story. And so that's really fun and exciting to see that. And I, you know, through this is like, you don't want it to only be about yourself, because if it's all about you, people won't find that connection if you just like talk about you and yourself. But if you include the group and have a community and it's like a family, you know, and then it's just, it'll attract people, because people want to be a part of a family, right? Part of a community, and it's a beautiful thing. It's amazing, and and have that good intentions of trying to help others and involve and have them be a part of it. And that's the way that we, try to share some of the people's artworks that share with us and give back in a way. And it's exciting to see that, and it's a journey that we go together, right? And what else that you wanted to ask about?
Oh, about how you can make money. Another way to make money is art sharing pages.
Oh yeah, the art sharing pages. So they have millions and millions of followers, right? And it's awesome. It's great when they contact you and say, hey, we have a lot of pages and we have 7 million here, 40 million here viewers, this much here, and it catches your eye. You're like, whoa, that's amazing. That's a lot of good exposure. And it is good exposure, but you also have to be careful because that's where I was kind of blinded by a little bit. I learned this recently, is that you want to get your name out there, right? But that's what I did. I just kind of gave my videos and my artwork that I've done for them to share because they would credit me, and they would do that. They would credit me, give me the name, and that's it. That's awesome. I got some more exposure on that, but you have to be careful because some of them could be monetizing the videos, and so they're making money off of your artwork and your videos, which is not really cool if they didn't mention that. So make sure you ask them, and say, are you monetizing these videos or this photo or this artwork? And then just ask them that first. And if
it's with videos. So.
Usually it's with videos, but if you're okay with sharing and just getting your name out there, that's totally fine. And I'm talking about big art pages, right? There's a lot of art pages where they just take art, reshare,
like on Instagram. Yeah, on Instagram they aren't making money off of it. It's just for exposure, which is awesome. But for like YouTube or Facebook, a lot of these pages, especially if you're an artist that makes videos, they can take your video and monetize it. So basically they're making money off of your content, but most of them won't tell you that. So this is something just a heads up.
It's a heads up. That's what we learned recently, and the way we learned that is because we make YouTube tutorials and we monetize them, right? And so we know how the YouTube and that works, and so that is why I hope this will help. Just be a little more cautious and not rush too much ahead of this is a funny story. It's a little bit off track, but we were in Miami and we went on a boat cruise ride, right? And they were doing a raffle ticket of like, oh, go to Cancun for 4 days, go to, stay over there for 4 days or that. And there was a raffle and you just had to fill out the form and put it in, people that were on the boat. And so they chose and we won. We were so excited, and they brought us to a seat and they were like explaining what we wanted to do. And it all sounded lovely. We were so excited, and we're like, man, this is all free. They're like, yep, it's all covered. Your flight, your stay. Just choose one of these places. And we were so excited. We're like, yes. And they're like, okay, well, the only thing is you just need to, go to this meeting for about a couple hours, and they'll just talk about stuff, and you don't have to agree to anything. You just, do that, and that's it, and you'll get your vacation thing. And so they took our credit card just in case, and we were excited, but thank God that we had my wife's parents were there, and their wisdom, they said, we've been through that, so we just want to encourage you not to fall for this, this trap almost, because, so the point is we didn't do it. We thank God we backed out because we could have wasted our full day, at this meeting. But the point of this is that when they ask you, and you see these numbers, 40 million, 7 million, all these big pages, to me, it stands out. I'm like, wow, that's good exposure. That's really good exposure. My name will be out there. People see, that's really good. That's exciting. but if you're not careful and asking, a little more questions about what their page is and if they're monetizing, you could lose a lot in a way, right?
We don't want you to be taken advantage of.
Exactly. But okay, so yeah, these are just some few questions. We might do this again in the future, answering some of the questions.
So if you have questions, ask them below in the comments.
Yeah, write your questions please down below, any questions you have, and we'll do our best to answer them and be honest with you, because it's exciting, and I want to personally, we both want to thank you guys, and for those that are following and supporting us, because it means a lot. It keeps us going. So all the patrons out there, thank you guys so much for your support, and I want to also remind you that we're doing a next tutorial for next week. Stay tuned for that. Take care and God bless.
Bye guys.